Cambridge Analytica returns to the news after the Veritas video dropped and nobody knows what's happening in Minnesota. Mark Levin weighs in on The Rock, so we will see what is happening with that story. The Senate prepares to start the hearing for Amy Coney Barrett, and people start getting mad about the nickname that people have given to her, and the candidates prepare for a debate showdown, and we will check that out over on the Freedom Scoop Network. I'm Jay Edgar, and this is Contemporary. Holy shit, I have no audio. Thank you, Daba, for pointing that out to me. So we're going to start this back up again. I muted the mic so I could have a little bit of a cough during the title card, and yeah, that screwed that up there. So we're going to start that once again. All right, so from Investors Business Daily, from Ed Carson, Dow Jones Futures Stock Market Rally needs this with presidential debate on tap, 7 leaders in buy zones. From Ed Carson, Dow Jones Futures were little changed Tuesday morning, along with S&P 500 futures and NASDAQ futures, after another solid session Monday for the new stock market rally attempt. Had another solid session on Monday, the first 2020 presidential debate between President Donald Trump and Democratic nominee Joe Biden is Tuesday night. On Monday, the NASDAQ reclaimed key support and leading stocks showed bullish action, but there was one piece missing for the new stock market rally. Target stock and Seattle Genetics broke out Monday. Adobe and Marvell Technology continued rebounding from their 50-day lines, moving higher, within or back into prior buy zones. Nvidia, Viva Systems, and Integris were among those offering early entries. Meanwhile, Apple extended Friday's big gain while AMD and PayPal retook their 50-day moving averages. Amazon stock raced up to just below that key level. The first presidential debate will take place tonight in Cleveland, Ohio. Most polls show former Vice President Biden with a modest to solid lead over President Trump. Though the polls have narrowed somewhat in the past few weeks, Tuesday night could be a chance for President Trump to close the gap or for Biden to reinforce his lead. And he will reinforce his lead with, come on, man, the thing, you know? I expect the coronavirus, the economy, protests in cities, and election integrity to be in focus. Nobody gives a fuck about the coronavirus anymore. Everybody knows it's bullshit at this point, unless they're super progressive and they want to push their super progressive New World Order agenda. Nobody cares about that anymore. In addition, the White House, the U.S. Senate, is up for grabs. Overall, Monday stock market gains were broad-based, with home builders, software, chips, solar, e-commerce, and transportation groups showing strength, as well as laggard airlines and financials. The one thing that was missing Monday, once again, was volume. Nasdaq volume was modestly below Friday's level. A follow-through day must have a nice, strong price gain on one or more of the major indices, but also higher volume than in the previous session. New York Stock Exchange volume did rise slightly on Monday, while Dow Jones and S&P 500 both had strong price gains. But Monday was only day 3 of a stock market rally attempt for Dow Jones and S&P 500 because they undercut their recent lows on Thursday morning before rebounding. Adobe and Nvidia stock on the IBD leader. Early morning. The mouth's not working right. Adobe and Nvidia stock are on the IBD leaderboard. Target and Viva stock are on Swing Trader. Adobe and PayPal stock are on IBD long-term leaders, with Viva on the watch list. Nvidia, AMD, Viva, Adobe, PayPal, Integris, and Marvel stock are on the IBD 50. For the futures, Dow Jones futures fell less than 1% versus fair value, or 0.1% versus fair value. S&P 500 futures lost a fraction, and Nasdaq 100 futures were slightly above fair value. Remember that overnight action in Dow futures and elsewhere doesn't necessarily translate into the next actual regular stock market session. So that's that. Thank you, Dabo, once again for pointing out that I did not have the microphone on. Apologize for that. We'll edit that out for the audio platform, which we are going to be catching up on tonight with Contemporary. I'm not going to go back and do the entire back catalog that I missed from Kenosha on, but I will be starting this week and getting every episode up. So look for that over wherever you get your audio podcasts. From CNBC, Dow rallies 400 points, continuing Friday's gains. 3 experts on what to watch from Karis Lahif. Bank and tech stocks led a market rally as investors grew optimistic. Congress could vote on a stimulus deal as soon as next week. The Dow closed up more than 400 points Monday. 3 experts discuss what the correction means and how investors should watch the market. Mohammed El Arian, Alliance chief economic advisor, sees a split between valuation and momentum. The analytical side clearly says respect valuation. Ultimately, fundamentals matter. The behavioral side says this market has been conditioned so strongly to buy the dip that it's hard to resist those technicals. I think it really depends on your balance between being a tactical investor and a strategic investor. If you're a tactical investor, this is a wonderful environment for you. For the long term, I often find that fundamentals matter the most. Stephanie Link, chief investment strategist at Hightower, recommends finding the corners of the economy that are charging higher. What I would suggest is look at the themes in the economy. There are pockets of the economy that are doing well, and pockets that aren't doing well, and for the most part, they are in very, very blue states. So I'm looking for themes of where pockets are doing well, and that is in housing. New home sales last week, that's up 43% year over year. Manufacturing is also doing quite well in terms of ISMs and new orders. The copper price is at a 36-month high, and that's telling you manufacturing in growth is certainly recovering. And auto, we're going to do about 15.7 million sales to active ratio in North America. That's up from 7.7 million in April. So these 3 areas are really where I want to be focused on. Jeremy Siegel, professor at the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania, sees uncertainty brewing. I think the 2 biggest things weighing the market is they want another stimulus package, and the election is coming up. Bingo! It's hard for me to see without a stimulus package and that the election uncertainty for there to be a lot of progress between now and the first week of November. I think that uncertainty is sort of going to continue to weigh on the markets. So that's what they're seeing up off of this. I do believe that we're going to be sitting just about right where we need to be. And we're sitting right about where we're going to be up until November. I don't see a big gain or a big loss coming up on either front. So we will keep watching this and we will see what happens off of this. And let's get into the news, starting with the Seattle Times today. Cambridge Analytica database identified black U.S. voters as ripe for deterrence. British broadcaster says, from Craig Timberg and Isaac Stanley Becker. A database built by Cambridge Analytica, the Republican-aligned firm that unraveled over allegations of improper use of Facebook data, disproportionately identified black voters as ripe for deterrence in profiles prepared for Donald Trump's 2016 campaign, according to a report Monday from Britain's Channel 4 News. The president's re-election campaign called the segment fake news. Fake news. It's CNN. Fake news. And an aide who handled the data in 2016 said the material went unused by the campaign. Still, the evidence the British broadcaster says it has uncovered is likely to intensify concerns about voter suppression and the opportunities afforded by Facebook to narrowly segment and target portions of the electorate. Why, oh why, if the government told you not to vote, would you not vote? I don't understand where this is voter suppression on the black votes. If you want to vote, figure out where your voting location is and go vote. Simple as that. I don't care what a president tells me. I don't care what Congress tells me. In fact, if somebody in the federal government tells me not to vote, I'm going to vote fucking harder. I'm going to vote with a smile on my face. And thumbs up to the poll workers. I don't get this. None of this makes sense. The material revives debates over the extent to which voter profiles touted by Cambridge Analytica were actually used to sway the vote in 2016. The firm was founded in part by the Trump campaign's one-time chief executive Steve Bannon, jack off, and collapsed in 2018 after news reports detailed its improper use of Facebook data in analyzing voters and other allegations of impropriety. And Zuckerberg was more than happy to sell that data. I mean, they love Zuckerberg and then they hate him, and they love him and then they hate him. He's still kind of a dick, though. The new cache of materials could add detail to allegations about Cambridge Analytica's role in the campaign, particularly in efforts to harness Facebook's powerful ad technologies to dissuade black voters from supporting Hillary Clinton. That's what a campaign is. I hate to tell you this, but a campaign is trying to dissuade you from voting for the other fucking dude. What's the downside here? Four years later, turnout among similar communities may help decide the November 3rd contest. The tactics described in the Channel 4 report are legal, and the sorting of voters into categories for the purposes of political messaging has been a routine and all but unregulated part of the campaign tactics for years. Right. Because different communities have different needs, just like different states have different needs. Just like different cities within different states have different needs. That's why we have federalism. That's why we don't have a top-down government. Or we're not supposed to. They keep trying to inch it closer to that, but I don't see anything wrong with this unless there's actually something blatantly illegal. But Zuckerberg sells the information willingly. So that's legally obtained. People do have different needs. People are not a monolith. Even people within a certain community are not a monolith, as much as the left would try to have you believe that. A database of nearly 200 million American voters obtained by Channel 4 sorted likely Democrat voters into several categories, such as core Clinton or disengaged Clinton. The database puts 3.5 million African Americans into a third category called deterrence. In an apparent bid to single them out for messages designed to dissuade them from voting, the report said, once again, if you tell me not to vote, I'm just going to vote harder. The file spans 16 states, according to the news channel. In crucial battlegrounds, black voters made up a disproportionate share of those marked for deterrence, 17% in Wisconsin, despite making up just 5.4% of voters, and 33% in Michigan, while accounting for 15% of the voting population. The margin in these states, which Trump won in 2016, was exceptionally narrow. Trump bested Clinton in Michigan by 11,000 votes. Meanwhile, black turnout fell in Michigan and Wisconsin by more than 12 points. Estimates suggest turnout fell in both of those states. It wasn't just black turnout. The candidates sucked in 2016, and they suck now. I mean, there's a lot of Trump enthusiasm. You see a lot of that walking around. I see little yard signs for Biden, and I see massive flags, banners, billboards, hats, clothing, and everything else for Trump. There is a differential in turnout here and enthusiasm and everything else. Somebody's actually going to have to explain to me why this is wrong, because this just sounds like campaigning. Now, Steve Bannon is involved, so there are some problems there, because Steve Bannon is kind of a jackoff. But other than that, yes, you can't treat people like a monolith, as much as the left would like to have you believe that. So, yeah, that's all the further I'm going to go into this one here. But yes, of course, the news comes out about Cambridge Analytica right before the election. Funny how that works. All right, let's keep going here. From the Daily Wire, Democrat Tulsi Gabbard on Project Veritas videos offers further evidence of the need to ban ballot harvesting, from Ryan Saavedra. Yes, let's ban ballot harvesting. While we're at it, let's ban heroin. While we're at it, let's ban car theft. Hey, while we're at it, let's ban voter fraud too. Oh wait, all those things are illegal already. Alright, from Ryan Saavedra, Representative Tulsi Gabbard said Monday night that Project Veritas' recent video alleging ballot harvesting scheme in Minneapolis were further evidence of the need to ban ballot harvesting in elections to protect our sacred right to vote. It's not a sacred right to vote, but, I mean, good try, Tulsi. Gabbard's remarks came after Minneapolis Police Department announced Monday afternoon that it was looking into and evaluating allegations of voter fraud following the release of the first set of videos posted by Project Veritas. Congress needs to pass our bipartisan bill to ban ballot harvesting so no one can exploit our sacred right to vote, Gabbard wrote on Twitter, later adding, Project Veritas offers further evidence of the need to ban ballot harvesting. It's not a partisan issue. It's been abused to help both R&D candidates, including in North Carolina and California. Please help by telling your congressional rep to pass our bipartisan bill, H.R. 8285, so it can get shot down by the Supreme Court, because the federal government does not regulate elections. That is very clearly stated, that is a state government thing. In making the remarks on Twitter, Gabbard also shared a video that she made over a week ago where she announced that she introduced a bipartisan bill in the House of Representatives to ban ballot harvesting. Hey everybody, we're getting closer and closer to Election Day now, and it is critical to remember that the strength of our democracy lies in the integrity of our elections, that every one of us has to have faith that our vote will count, Gabbard says as the video begins. But right now, there are still many states in our country that allow for something called ballot harvesting. This is a system that allows for third parties to collect and deliver ballots for other people, potentially large numbers of people. Unfortunately, ballot harvesting has allowed for fraud and abuse to occur by those who would tamper with or discard ballots to try and sway an election for or against a certain candidate or party. And yet, no, they don't necessarily want this anymore, because they realize that this is going to lead to massive failures in the system and people not voting and more people voting for Trump. But no, in fact, they want us to hand our mail-in ballots over to a postal worker who's a member of a union that endorsed Biden. I don't fucking think so, Scooter. So, yes, Tulsi is up there blatantly violating the Constitution with a bill that will never make it past the Supreme Court. I like the idea. I like the chutzpah, but still illegal. So thank you, Tulsi, for that. Let's keep going here from the New York Post. Minneapolis police probing alleged ballot harvesting plot, helping Representative Omar from Lee Brown. A police investigation has been launched into the alleged ballot harvesting plot to helping Progressive Squad member Representative Ilhan Omar. Allegations of voter fraud being evaluated, Minneapolis Police Department announced on Twitter Monday, hours after President Trump called for an investigation into the misdeeds. The MPD is aware of the allegations of vote harvesting. We are in the process of looking into the validity of those statements, the department said. The force added that no further information is available at this time, including whether the Democratic Congresswoman would be involved in the initial allegation. Oh, she's got a towel and a mask, too. Isn't that fucking cute? I like that. The probe surrounds a video posted by Project Veritas late Sunday in which Liban Mohammed, the brother of Minneapolis City Council member Jamal Osman, is shown with ballots filling his car's dashboard. I have 300 ballots in my car right now. Numbers don't lie. You can see my car is full. All of these are absentee ballots, Mohammed said in the video posted July 1st, according to the report. Omar Jamal, a Minneapolis community leader, then implicated Democratic Congresswoman Omar in the alleged scheme, saying Mohammed is one of her many people. It's an open secret. She will do anything she can to get elected, and she has hundreds of people on the streets doing that, Jamal told Project Veritas in an interview last week. Trump raged that it was totally illegal, tweeting early Monday, "Hope that U.S. attorney has this and other of her many misdeeds under serious review. If not, why not?" Representative Omar responded to his attack, deflecting on the president, posting a video of a game show contestant unveiling a card showing $750, reference to reports over how much federal income tax he paid. The amount of the truth to the story is equal to the amount Donald Trump paid in taxes, 10 out of the last 15 years. 0. Omar's senior communications director, Jeremy Slevin, told Newsweek. And amplifying a coordinated right-wing campaign to delegitimize a free and fair election. This fall undermines our democracy. So, I mean, if this is really happening, we do need to look into this. And O'Keefe, he puts stuff out there. He definitely throws some stuff out there. I just want it to be fair. That's all I want. I don't care who wins at this point, but we've got people actually going out and doing this with absentee ballots and admitting to it on tape. O'Keefe gets weird people to tell the truth. I don't know how he does it, but he gets really weird people to tell the truth. So this will definitely be something that we're looking into. The Minneapolis Police Department is involved, in spite of the fact that they're trying to be banned by the city of Minneapolis. So we will see what happens out of this going into an election that, once again, we are not going to know what happened in until January, possibly later. We might see that President Pelosi. That's a fucking scary thought right there. Corrupt California politician who's been in politics for 75 fucking years. Almost as bad as a President McConnell at this point. Corrupt Kentucky politician that's been in politics for 75 fucking years. Can we get some of these people out of Congress for 75 years somewhere? Let's keep going. From Newsweek, what Project Veritas is claiming about Ilhan Omar and illegal balloting, illegal ballot harvesting. From Darach Roche. Project Veritas has claimed Democrat Representative Ilhan Omar is engaging in illegal ballot harvesting and cash for ballot scheme in her district in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The group, which has targeted many liberal groups with sting operations, posted a video late on Sunday showing what it claims is evidence of an illegal effort to harvest absentee ballots. The group's founder, James O'Keefe, alleged on Twitter that Omar's team may have bribed voters in Minnesota's 5th congressional district, which she has represented since 2019. Liban Mohammed is shown in a Snapchat video commenting on the ballots. He is the brother of Minneapolis City Council member Jamal Osman. Newsweek originally reported that Mohammed was an Omar campaign worker. However, a spokesperson for Omar clarified that he does not work with the congresswoman. Just today, we got 300 for Jamal Osman, Mohammed said in the video. I have 300 ballots in my car right now. Numbers don't lie. You can see my car is full. All these are absentee ballots. Look, all these are for Jamal Usman. Mohammed can be seen showing white envelopes in his car's dashboard in a video from July 1st. Later in the Project Veritas video, Mohammed says, "Money is the king in this world, and campaign is driven by money." An anonymous person identified as a former Minneapolis political worker told Project Veritas that Omar's campaign deputy district director, Ali Isghani, was coordinating ballot harvesting from elderly people in Charles Horn Towers, a housing complex in the city, before the Minnesota primary on August 8th. The same person claimed that women and young people were paid for ballots during the primary. The cash for ballots accusation is unsubstantiated at this time. Ballot harvesting is not illegal in Minnesota. However, a district court in the state denied a Republican motion to stay a temporary injunction against a law that made it illegal for anyone to help more than 3 people vote. Jeremy Slevin, Senior Communications Director for Omar, says, "The amount of truth to this story is equal to the amount Donald Trump paid in taxes 10 out of the last 15 years. 0. Oh yeah, they're gonna stroke that fucking meme for everything that it's worth, aren't they? That's what people should be paying in taxes. 0. Taxation is theft. And we went for over 100 years in this country without paying taxes. To the federal level. The state level, that's a different story, and that depends on the needs of your state. But we went for over 100 years in this country without a federal income tax or any sort of federal tax. Keep that in mind when you say who will build the roads. And amplifying a coordinated right-wing campaign to delegitimize a free and fair election this fall undermines our democracy. So I don't actually put a lot of stock in this Veritas video. It's starting the conversation, which is good. And we will need to go through and let the Minneapolis Police Department do their work, do their investigation, and go into it. But there was a lot of anonymous stuff in this video, so it's a grain of salt thing for me on Project Veritas because of all the anonymous stuff. I mean, we had the one person come out on the record and say, "Yeah, we did this, and look at all these ballots in my car," and he's probably going to take some of it. But for the most part, this did more to start the conversation. This did more to start the conversation than it did to prove something went wrong. So at least we're having the conversation, and with an all mail-in voting system in some states in this country, it's at least worth having the conversation. All right, let's keep going. From the Daily Wire, rigged election. Trump responds to newest Project Veritas video alleging cash for ballot scheme. From Ryan Saavedra, President Donald Trump responded to the newest release of Project Veritas' undercover video from Minneapolis that allege an illegal cash for ballots voting scheme by appearing to claim that the video was evidence of a rigged election. Project Veritas has received an explosive piece of tape. Project Veritas founder James O'Keefe states as he introduces the video, "The tape you're about to see shows a man buying a registration form for an absentee ballot from a voter, giving him pocket money of $200 and expecting to collect his ballot when the voter receives it." Who's carrying $200 in their pocket right now, especially with the digital age and a cash shortage that we had from the coronavirus? Who is carrying $200 in their fucking pocket? The video then states that another man who allegedly appears only in an audio file included on the tape, claiming that he was given $800. The man allegedly states in the audio file that he doesn't care that it's illegal. Another portion of the clip allegedly shows a woman who, according to Project Veritas, is a former co-worker of Representative Ilhan Omar, appearing to state that Omar was involved in the pay-to-vote scheme. And then, of course, Junior threw it out because he's Junior and that's what he does. Trump responded to the video by writing on Twitter, "Rigged election." Veritas' latest video out of Minneapolis comes after the group released an explosive video at the start of the week. The first video from Veritas allegedly showed that Omar's engaging in illegal ballot harvesting and cash for ballot scheme in her district in Minneapolis. Newsweek reported, yep, we just read that one actually, the group, which has targeted mainly liberal groups with sting operations, posted a video late on Sunday showing what it claims is evidence for an illegal effort to harvest absentee ballots, while not technically illegal in Minnesota. So, yeah, we've got a few things going on with this, and The president knows about it, so he's going to bring that up tonight while they bring up his taxes and try to bring this up. This is... If you think there's going to be anything out of this, of substance rather, out of this coming debate, you're out of your fucking mind. And I can't wait to sit down with the Freckles and Brit show and watch that. Make sure you guys check out the Freckles and Brit show. They are not going to be broadcasting this one on YouTube. They broadcast their other live streams on YouTube. They are not going to be broadcasting this one. So go check out the D Live for them. FAB show is the extension for D Live tonight. And I'm going to lobby with the Freedom Scoop guys to see if I can get the second debate. And I'm going to see if the already conservative will sit with me. And we'll watch the debate together with you guys. Because that'll be entertaining to get the RRC and his hot takes in on this while they're going. All right, let's keep going. From The Blaze, CNN asked Democrat Senator to explain how nomination of Amy Coney Barrett is illegal or illegitimate. He can't. From Chris Field, immediately after President Trump announced his selection of Judge Amy Coney Barrett to serve on the Supreme Court, Democrat senators began declaring the nomination illegitimate. He's an illegitimate president. You know, he lost the popular vote, didn't he? He's an illegitimate. He's impeached. Yeah, all the fucking stories have been out from the start from this one. One of the loudest voices was Senator Richard Blumenthal, a member of the Senate Judiciary Committee, which will be holding hearings next month on the Barrett campaign. They forgot Richard Blumenthal's other main title. Yes, he is a member of the Senate Judiciary Committee, and that's very important, but he is also a jackass. Blumenthal tweeted minutes after Trump's announcement that the entire process was an illegitimate sham and went on to blast Barrett's qualifications. And yet, if it was Madam Hillary nominating a Supreme Court justice to Charles U. Schumer's Senate, then this would be glowing. Fuck. And like I said last night, if this was Hillary Clinton's nominee to Chuck U. Schumer's Senate, then Ginsburg would have died on Friday. And once again, this is, of course, assuming that Ginsburg didn't retire earlier because it was Hillary doing the nomination. But Ginsburg would have died on Friday. Nominee would have been announced on Monday. Nominee would have been confirmed by Wednesday. If this was Hillary's pick. You fucking know it. They will try and deny it left and right, but you know it. Blumenthal's Twitter thread rant concluded with the senator saying he would refuse to meet with the nominee despite decades of Senate tradition of senators of both parties meeting with nominees to the High Court, and that he would not treat the process as legitimate. Later Saturday, Blumenthal was interviewed on CNN by Wolf Blitzer and was actually confronted over his comments and asked to explain how the nomination was illegal or illegitimate. He couldn't give a straight answer. What are Republicans doing that is illegal or illegitimate? Blitzer asked, adding a note that the Constitution delineates exactly how nominations to the Supreme Court are supposed to go down. The Constitution says the President has to nominate Supreme Court justices. The Senate has to advise and consent and confirm, Blitzer continued. So what is illegal about what the President and the Republicans are doing? You say it's illegitimate. Blumenthal danced around the question and claimed it is illegitimate because of the timing of the nomination, noting that the vote on this nominee will occur literally at the end of October, a handful of days before an election. And yes, you are right. That is probably sucky, but once again, going back to what I just said, if this was other party, every time you look at something partisan, anywhere, and you want to be outraged about it or you want to be proud of it, anytime you look at something partisan, switch the parties and see if you feel the same way. That is my advice for how to approach politics. If you think something is outrageous because one party is doing it, switch the parties and see how you would feel in the exact same situation. So, that's what we're seeing off of this. Thank you, The Blaze, for putting this one out here. I've got one from The Hill. On the same vein, Senate Democrats want to avoid Kavanaugh 2.0 from Alexander Bolton. Senate Democrats say they want to avoid a replay of the bitter fighting that characterized Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh's 2018 Senate confirmation hearing, which centrist former Senators Claire McCaskill and Joe Donnelly thought cost them their re-election bids that year. Several Democratic senators say they want to avoid getting drawn into a partisan food fight over President Trump's nomination of Amy Coney Barrett that could alienate voters in Republican-leaning Senate battlegrounds such as Georgia, Iowa, Montana, and North Carolina. Suburban college-educated women are a key demographic in the battle for the Senate, and Democratic senators acknowledge they need to be careful of getting too aggressive with Barrett, a mother of 7. "I'm sick and tired of losing," said one Democrat senator. "We had Kavanaugh 1.0, which has informed people's approach this time. We're not going down that road again. People now know what happened to Joe Donnelly, they know what happened to Claire McCaskill, and they know what happened to former Senator Heidi Heitkamp," the senator said, referring to the North Dakota Democrat who lost her re-election bid weeks after Kavanaugh's confirmation vote. Senator Joe Manchin, the only Democrat who voted to confirm Kavanaugh in 2018 and went on to win re-election that year in a state that Trump carried by 42 points in 2016, said he hopes the Senate avoids a Kavanaugh-type redux. Wrong. Wrong. This wrong. That's completely wrong. So that's not what they're doing here, and that's not why they want to avoid this. I'm going to tell you why they want to avoid this. If you look at what you're seeing here, and this is the reason that Trump nominated this woman, you're looking at a suburban college-educated woman with 7 kids, 2 of them adopted, so they can't throw the race card at it even. And he wants the Democrats to go in and go punches swinging into the election against a suburban, college-educated woman with 7 kids. He wants them. It's not about the people who are up for re-election this time. It is about everybody else. I mean, let me rephrase that. It's not about the people who are up for re-election in GOP-leaning states. It is about everybody else who is up for re-election this year in the Senate. Because if they go hard, if the Senate goes hard into a college-educated suburban woman with 7 kids, it's not going to matter what's happening in the GOP-leaning states. That is going to put a sour taste in the mouth of everybody who has to vote for a senator this year and has a Democrat incumbent. You want to see a filibuster-proof majority in the Senate? Go hard after Barrett, because you will have that. And I kind of want to see it. I kind of wish it really disappoints me a little bit that they're going so soft on her, because I was really looking for fire and brimstone off of this, especially with what they were saying about this woman before Kavanaugh was nominated. But we'll be seeing the hearings coming up this week. We'll see what happens off of it. Next one here comes from the Daily Wire. Sick, demeaning. Leftists erupt over Amy Coney Barrett, ACB nickname from Emily Zanotti over at the Daily Wire. Judge Amy Coney Barrett may be in line to replace the late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg on the Supreme Court, but leftists are out to stop conservatives from usurping another hand-me-down from the notorious RBG, her nickname. Before Barrett was officially nominated to Ginsburg's seat, groups pressing for her selection began selling t-shirts naming Barrett the Notorious ACB, a play on Ginsburg's branding, or alternatively, Glorious ACB. I like that one better. I really do. As a reference to Barrett's Catholic faith, which has become a front and center issue on the media. The new monikers, though, aren't sitting well with diehard Ginsburg fans who took to Twitter and to the pages of the left-leaning outlets to complain that conservatives were appropriating what rightfully belonged to RGB. Please stop calling her ACB. It demeans #RBG and the rest of us, one social media critic claimed. Conservatives calling this woman ACB makes me sick, moaned another. She will never be RBG. That might be good news to Barrett's fans, who are likely hoping that Barrett wins a speedy confirmation to the Supreme Court, gaining conservatives a 6-3 edge. Why? Why does it have to be partisan? The Supreme Court was never supposed to be partisan. It's supposed to interpret the Constitution, not partisan politics. Or in some cases, at least a comfortable 5-4 over the court's more liberal justices. Other critics connected ACB to the Trump administration's controversial decision to pursue filling Ginsburg's seat less than 40 days out from an election. They're stealing RGB's nickname on top of her seat. We're going to go down that fucking route again. They're stealing the seat. They're stealing the seat. It's Merrick Garland's seat. One social media user complained, ACB didn't earn this. The GOP are sick and cruel. Well, I can't argue with that one. But still, they won. Elections have consequences. To quote a great 90-fucking-thousand-year-old woman from the House of Representatives. Left-leaning media outlets, Slate even went as far to suggest that the notorious ACB nickname was an example of contempt on the part of Republicans looking to replace Ginsburg quickly, and a blow against Ginsburg's achievements in the name of feminism. Applying Ruth Bader Ginsburg's nickname to Amy Coney Barrett is deliberately degrading, Slate reporter Dahlia Lithwick claims. The White House rollout of Judge Amy Coney Barrett as a candidate for the seat has gone beyond erasing Ginsburg's legacy. They are stealing the trappings of that legacy and stripping it for parts. Oh, yes, no. Ginsburg's legacy is so bad, so horrible, that another accomplished career woman is going to be sitting in her place. It's the legacy is gone. The legacy that she fought forever for feminist rights in the 60s when there were no feminist rights is going to lead to another accomplished working mother being on the seat. Oh my God, the fucking horror. Do these people hear themselves? I don't know. It's stupidity on all fucking levels. The government has become a reality show. I very, very affectionately refer to it as the Federal Apprentice. I don't think I'm far off, but the writers of the Federal Apprentice this season are taking it to every step that they can in the hopes that they get 4 more seasons, which will be good for ratings. I don't know. D.M. Morton pointed out last night, what are these people going to do after Trump is voted out, either this time or after he terms out next time through? There's going to be such a vacuum because you're not going to get this kind of showmanship out of anybody else that's running, I don't think. Unless it's Bernard Sanders, and then he's going to find a way to have the showmanship and the pudding cup for everybody. All right, let's keep going here from Fox News. Kamala Harris doesn't take questions after speech ripping Trump's Supreme Court push. From Thomas Barabi. Democratic vice presidential candidate Kamala Harris faced renewed scrutiny for her lack of press availability on Monday after she abruptly exited the stage after a speech in North Carolina in which she criticized President Trump's bid to fill a Supreme Court seat before the election. You know who would take questions? You know who would, well, he doesn't always take questions, I guess, but you know who would be up there and having press availability? The Donald. You don't want to get between that dude and the camera, because he will topple your ass out of the way and get to that camera. Harris did not take any questions from the media after her speech at Shaw University, one of North Carolina's historically black colleges and universities. The event was closed to the general public and attended only by news reporters, according to the Fayetteville Observer. Aside from her role as Democratic presidential candidate, Joe Biden's running mate, Harris is a member of the Senate Judiciary Committee and will have the chance to directly question Supreme Court nominee Amy Coney Barrett, and I'm looking forward to this. Trump's pick to fill the high court vacancy in any confirmation hearing that takes place prior to November 3rd. In her speech, which was criticized by the research wing of the Republican National Committee, Harris ripped the GOP for moving forward with the nomination so close to an election. Let's listen to this, because then we don't have to go back and read it. I can do that for you guys. Throw the headphones on and have a listen, shall we? She's not going to say it. She's just going to... God damn it. I thought there was going to be more of that. All right. We will not give up, and we will not give in, Harris said. We will lead the infection, or we will not let the infection that President Trump has injected into the presidency and into Congress, that has paralyzed our politics and pitted Americans against each other, spread to the United States Supreme Court. Harris has faced criticism for not taking questions from the press in recent days. Reporters from multiple outlets have questioned why Harris hasn't made herself available to the media. And Trump and members of his campaign staff have frequently complained that both Biden and Harris are being given a free pass when it comes to questions from the press. No shit, you're just figuring that out now? Fox News reported last week that Biden hasn't participated in a formal press conference or gaggle since it was announced, or she was announced as Biden's running mate in August. I think that was supposed to be Harris. Because Biden can't be Biden's own running mate. Biden can't be even his own candidate. Trump nominated Barrett on Saturday to the Supreme Court seat held by Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg until her death earlier this month. In her speech, Harris warned that Barrett's confirmation to the Supreme Court would endanger the Obama-era Affordable Care Act, as well as reproductive rights legislation. There's no what? There is no legislation. You can't legislate from the bench. The Supreme Court will hear arguments on the ACA just days after the election. All right, so that's all the further I'm going to go into this one here. We're almost to the bottom anyway, so yes, absolutely. All right, from The Hill, Mark Levine rips The Rock for Biden endorsement. Self-righteous egomaniac from Joe Concha. Fox News host Mark Levin ripped Dwayne Johnson for his endorsement of the Democratic nominee Joe Biden, calling the WWE star known as The Rock a self-righteous egomaniac and Biden a mentally incapacitated lifetime political hack. Fact check true. Let's get rid of this autoplay here. Let's get rid of the video too so we can actually read it. The Fast and the Furious star endorsed Biden over the weekend, marking the first time the 48-year-old has endorsed any candidate. Self-righteous egomaniac, and why should we care who another actor endorses? What a surprise. He endorses the Democrats, Levine wrote to his more than 2.4 million followers. Well then, let's stop thinking for ourselves, no longer worry about the Republic. Vote for a mentally incapacitated lifetime political hack because The Rock is stupid enough to do so. No, Levine added. Most celebrities have come out with their support for Biden, with a few endorsing Trump. The exceptions for the president include actor Jon Voight. Johnson, a former professional level and college football player at the University of Miami, said supporting Biden is critical to the country's future. I've got friends in all parties, but the one thing we can always agree on is the conversation and the dialogue, and where that conversation lands is always the most critical part, Johnson said in a video he tweeted Sunday. He also revealed that he recently had a conversation with Biden's running mate, Senator Kamala Harris. I thought it was great, an extremely productive conversation that we had, and as registered independent for years now with centrist ideologies, I do feel that Vice President Biden and Senator Harris are the best choice to lead our country, and I'm endorsing them because President and Vice President of the United States. Yeah, nobody cares. If The Rock had come out and endorsed Trump, I'm going to tell you this right now, I wouldn't care either. If he came out and endorsed Joe Jorgensen, I wouldn't care. If he came out and endorsed, I don't know, who the hell is actually running for the Green Party? I don't even know. Because they haven't been, I know it's not hippie grandma, it's some hippie dude, but I wouldn't care there either. I would not care. Because he's a celebrity. He can go and decide how to vote how he wants to. And I'm not going to try and stop him. I might try and debate him out of it, but I don't care. All right, let's keep going from the New York Post. New poll shows Trump and Biden essentially tied in North Carolina, from Mark Moore. President Trump and Joe Biden are essentially tied in the presidential race of the battleground state of North Carolina, according to a poll released Monday. The former vice president has a narrow edge of 45.7% to 45.4% over Trump in the Tar Heel state, with just 6% of voters saying they're undecided. The Meredith College poll found Trump, who won North Carolina in 2016, has an edge with independent voters, 43.1% to Biden's 39.8%. He also leads among white voters by 13.4 percentage points, males by 10.8 points, and among rural voters by 15.6 points. Biden has a huge lead among black voters, 62.1 percentage points, women, 10.5 points, and urban voters, 17.5 points. North Carolina is shaping up to be the key battleground everyone thought it would be heading into the election cycle. Although Trump has gained some ground with key groups like Hispanic voters, he is running behind Biden among suburban voters and women voters, two key groups that will determine the outcome of the presidential race in North Carolina, said Meredith's poll director David McLennan. So, Minnesota and North Carolina, statistical ties at this point. I think there is that silent majority that's out there that just don't want to go on to talk to the poll workers and say, well, I do support Trump, because they will come and burn that person's business down. So, we will see what comes up out of this one here, going on next to the Hill. Trump and Biden set for high-stakes showdown, from Jonathan Easley. Washington is bracing for an extraordinarily ugly and personal debate Tuesday night between President Trump and Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden, where nothing will be off limits. Oh, please, please let nothing be off limits, as Trump seeks to make up ground in a race that appears to be slipping away. The candidates, both in their 70s, are expected to attack one another over their age, mental acuity, and fitness for office. Yeah, that's going to be a lot of pot kettle arguments. Trump has questioned whether Biden has lost step, central to his campaign and to the president. He has said he wants a challenger tested for drugs before the encounter. Oh, what? What is this world? What is this world? My God, Trump will almost certainly face allegations of racism at a moment of extraordinary civil unrest in the country. He's not going to face allegations of racism exclusively in a moment of extraordinary civil unrest in the country. He's been hearing it for 5 fucking years. The showdown between two men could also turn toward allegations they faced from women, ranging from inappropriate touching to sexual assault. Oh my God. Oh my God, the Hill, you're making all of my dreams come true. Oh, I want to see this so fucking bad. The candidates' private lives and their children are expected to be dragged in the proceedings. Oh, yes. Trump has already said he'll invoke Biden's son, Hunter Biden, who Republicans say personally profited off the former vice president's political connections, not to mention Russian fucking collusion. The New York Times report on Trump's taxes has handed Biden a treasure trove of potential new attacks that he could use to question the president's wealth, business acumen, and conflicts of interest, which Trump takes very personally. Nobody gives a fuck about this. Nobody cares. This should be the epic and biblical slugfest we've been waiting for, said one Democratic strategist who talks with the Biden campaign. We'll either walk away knowing who will win the election or scratching our heads over what we just watched. This is going to be great. This is going to be amazing. This is going to be massively awesome. Shameless plug for another Freedom Scoop show. Make sure you guys check out the Freckles and Brick show once again over on DLive and over on Twitch, I believe, as well. FAB show. That is Fab Show on both networks. Go and check them out. They will be hosting also from the Freedom Scoop network, Stephen Ignoramus, and Liberty Lockpod as well. They'll be hosting both of them and analyzing the debate as it happens, and probably drinking and, knowing Brit, probably doing other illicit things. So go and check them out. It's going to be pretty awesome to see, and this debate is going to be awesome to see. I'll be in the live chat, so I'll be hanging out with you guys. So go ahead and check that out. Next one here comes to us from Fox News. Body cam footage shows Trump campaign aide Brad Parscale being tackled and detained by police. From Brittany DeLea. Police released body cam footage on Monday in an incident involving President Trump's former campaign manager, Brad Parscale, where he was taken to the hospital by law enforcement after allegedly threatening to harm himself. The video shows police tackle a shirtless Parscale to the ground and place handcuffs on him after he emerged from his home, as he repeatedly said he didn't do anything. Officers had asked Parscale to leave his house with no weapons. The video also shows Parscale's wife, Candace, speaking with police about the incident, where she noted her husband had several firearms, including a rifle and a shotgun. As previously reported by Fox News, a police report indicated that about 10 firearms were confiscated from Parscale's home on Sunday after law enforcement was called over an argument between Parscale and his wife. His wife said he had a loaded firearm during an argument, at which time she fled the home after a standoff with police. Parscale, who repeatedly threatened to harm himself, was taken to a hospital in Fort Lauderdale. Parscale was replaced as Trump's campaign manager in mid-July by veteran GOP operative Bill Stepien after a series of polls show the president trailing Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden. He is currently the senior advisor for data and digital operations. There's something else going on with this situation. So I read about this yesterday, and yeah, I gave the sympathy because, I've struggled with thoughts of self-harm before. It's happened before, and I do not begrudge anybody who's struggling with that right now. But the fact that the police officers tackled the guy tells me that something else is going on here. There is something else fucky with this story. We're not hearing everything out of this. So we will continue to watch this one as we go along. From the Blaze, as many as 140,000 New Yorkers receive absentee ballots with wrong names and addresses. Voting absentee is going to work. It really is. Fingers crossed. From Breck Dumas, voters in New York City are sounding the alarm after several have received, voters in New York City are sounding the alarm after several have reported receiving absentee ballots containing either the wrong name and address or another person's ballot altogether, and officials estimate as many as 140,000 mismatched absentee mailings were sent out. Yeah, Tim Pool, he says this all the time. Yeah, no, I got this. I got the absentee ballot here. He probably doesn't say it as fast as I do. I'm just used to hearing Tim Pool on double speed because that's how I hear him. But I got this absentee ballot here. It's not mine. It's got somebody else's name on it, but I'm not going to show the name because I'm not going to show any proof of this because I don't want to dox the person or my own address. But I mean, it's sitting right here. It got sent here, and it's not my ballot. It goes to somebody else who used to live here. The Gothamist reported Monday night that multiple voters in Brooklyn said they have received mislabeled official absentee ballot envelopes. Normally, the voter inserts their completed ballot into the envelope and signs the outside, but in these cases, their ballot envelopes bear the wrong names and addresses. If a person signs their own name to this faulty ballot envelope, the ballot would be voided. The outlet noted that the New York City Board of Elections has mailed out nearly 500,000 absentee ballots ahead of Election Day this November, and more than 140,000 absentee ballots have gone out across the borough. Business Insider reporter Grace Panetta tweeted, and it looks like some people are getting not just the wrong return envelopes with their ballot, but other people's ballots entirely. I can only hope that this isn't a widespread problem because it's a pretty serious safety/privacy issue. Impacted New Yorkers also took to social media to sound the alarm. One Brooklyn resident called out her city councilman, Brad Lander, tweeting, "I too received somebody else's absentee ballot. Please help your constituents/our democracy at Brad Lander." Lander responded, "Sigh. And you and apparently as many as 140,000 others. Here's what we know so far," pointing to his own Twitter feed where he had linked the Gothamist article he had written earlier. Emerging from Yom Kippur to dozens of emails from Brooklyn voters who were mailed absentee ballots with the wrong name and address on the return envelope. Just so enraging and depressing. So, yes, change the rules at the very last second, change the process, and wonder why things are going wrong. Good job. All right, let's see. We just got a few more here. Then we'll do the Twitter trending and get the hell out of here. So, from The Hill, Kentucky AG says he will release grand jury recordings in Breonna Taylor case. I'm pretty sure that's against the law, because your grand jury testimony is supposed to be sealed. That's how it's supposed to be. Of course, he may just be wanting to quell some of the rioting, but yeah, this is going to turn badly for the grand jury, I think. But let's see what Justine Coleman has to say. Kentucky AG Daniel Cameron committed Monday night to releasing a recording of the grand jury proceedings and the Breonna Taylor case. Cameron said in a statement to The Hill that he plans to release the recording Wednesday in compliance with the judge's order, despite having concerns about how it could affect the ongoing investigation and have other unintended consequences. His agreement to release the recording comes less than a week after the grand jury indicted one police officer involved in the shooting that resulted in Taylor's death for endangering her neighbors. As the special prosecutor, our team has an ethical obligation not to release the recordings from the grand jury proceedings, and we stand by our belief that such a release could compromise the ongoing federal investigation and could have unintended consequences, such as poisoning the jury pool, Cameron said in a statement. Despite these concerns, we will comply with the judge's order to release the recording on Wednesday. The state AG had previously refused to release grand jury proceedings recordings, but faced pressure from lawyers for Taylor's family, Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear, and an anonymous grand juror to do so. The grand jury is meant to be a secretive body, Cameron's statement said. It's apparent that the public interest in this case isn't going to allow that to happen. This is dangerous because this brings it out to the table that this could happen to anybody. Your grand jury indictment is supposed to be sealed for the reason that they said it could poison a jury pool. In a situation where a jury pool is going to be poisoned no matter what we do, this has been a massive story since after George Floyd died, because nobody gave two fucks about it before that. This is on everybody's Instagram feed, it's on everybody's Facebook feed, it's on everybody's Twitter feed. It is going to be hard enough to find an impartial jury in this. And now the grand jury report is going to come out, and the recordings are going to come out, and it's going to become even harder. Not to mention targeting going to the grand jurors. So, yeah, we will see what happens with that. I'm sure that that's going to be headline news when it comes out, no matter what's in it. All right. From the Daily Wire, Kyle Rittenhouse defense raises millions from Amanda Prestigiacomo. More than $2 million reportedly have been raised to fund the defense of Kyle Rittenhouse, a 17-year-old who's been charged with killing two rioters in Kenosha, Wisconsin last month. As of Monday, crowdfunding sites GiveSendGo has accumulated more than $523,000 for Rittenhouse, and a report from the AP published Thursday said that defense lawyers representing the teen have brought in about $2 million in funds. Rittenhouse was charged with first-degree intentional homicide and attempted intentional homicide in the wounding of a third and a misdemeanor charge of underage firearm possession, which is going to get thrown out because we have provisions in the state to make sure that doesn't happen. Last week, #FightBack Foundation, which has been credited with helping the team raise significant funds for Rittenhouse, per the AP, published an 11-minute documentary outlining their client's actions as self-defense. The video shows the teen being chased as the narrator notes that directly in front of Rittenhouse, armed with bats and other weapons, a mob is forming a barricade, cutting to a clip of the news interview from Daily Caller reporter Richie McGinnis, who filmed the chase. The reporter says a gunshot nearby was either fired into the air or at Rittenhouse. That was when the teen turned and aimed his weapon at 36-year-old Joseph D. Rosenbaum, according to McGinnis, and fired off 4 shots. The video also frames the prosecution of Rittenhouse in political terms. The narrator states during the doc, but it's not Kyle Rittenhouse they're after. Their endgame is to strip away the constitutional right of all citizens to defend our communities, our personal property, our lives, and the lives of our loved ones. And that is it right there. We saw it with the McCloskeys. We saw it with a little bit with Sandman, but not nearly to that extent, because he didn't have a weapon, but it was his free speech that was being, or his freedom to associate rather, that was being threatened. And we see it with Rittenhouse. They don't want you to be able to defend yourself. And if you can defend yourself, that is a step in the way of whatever it is that their plan is going forward. I'm not going to go out on the conspiracy limb on this and say the New World Order or global governance or socialism or communism or whatever the hell else that they want to say that it is. But all I know it is whatever they're trying to do, having you armed is a blockade for that. So we will see what happens off of that. Good for the legal team for raising the money for the court costs. This is going to be a very, very expensive, long and drawn out court process. So we will see what happens from this one here. Last one that I have on the news, and then we'll do Twitter trending and get on out of here. Democrats unveil slimmed down $2.2 trillion COVID-19 relief proposal. It's fucking sad right now that $2.2 trillion is considered to be slimmed down. Let's see what Kenneth Gardner has to say. House Democrats on Monday unveiled a scaled-down $2.2 trillion coronavirus aid package in an attempt to revive long-stalled talks with the Trump administration on the measure. The package, $1.2 billion less than the version that passed in a lower chamber on May, would include a second round of $1,200 checks to most Americans and bring back $600 a week jobless benefits. Previous coronavirus relief packages were negotiated between House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin. Talks between the two for a new measure have never gained steam, but House Democrats hope the latest proposal will bring White House negotiators back to the table. We've come down $1 trillion and they need to come up because we have to crush this virus, Pelosi said on MSNBC. It's weird. I didn't realize that dollar bills strengthened helper T cells and white blood cells. Who knew? Maybe that's why I'm not in the government. It takes money to crush the virus. It takes money to make the schools safe. It takes money to put money in people's pockets. Though their newest package was substantially slashed, it's still far above the $650 billion to $1 trillion range the Senate Republicans are aiming for. Monday's proposal would send $436 billion to state and local governments, $225 billion to colleges and universities, and deliver another round of subsidies to businesses under the Paycheck Protection Programs. And I'm sure it would also have provisions ending the SALT tax credit for next year's taxes, forcing voter ID laws to be delegitimized, and forcing vote by mail to be the norm in every single state. If you remember, it wasn't just the price tag, although the price tag was a major part of the last one, but it was also so laden with pork that it was Pelosi holding the American people hostage once again. And I don't think they should put another one out. Just open up the economy. Get everybody else out of the way, get the government out of the way, and let us go back and go about our fucking business. And the people that want to wear a mask can wear a fucking mask. Stop trying to spend money that you don't fucking have. That way I don't have to embarrass libertarians in name only on Twitter when they try to complain about the national debt going up under Trump. All right, and that's going to be it for the news for the day. The last thing that we do on Tuesday is Twitter trending. Let me move my phone here since the Instagram recording is down. And let's get this out of the way so we can see it here. Show more. Ooh, I've got notifications. Thanks, whoever's notifying. I'll see what that is after the show. You guys won't, but I will. All right, number 1, National Coffee Day is trending today. Green Bay Packers. Who thinks National Coffee Day should be every day? Well, we've got a cup, so Audrey Hepburn photographed by Hal Conant inside Tiffany & Co. for breakfast at Tiffany in 1961. That was a beautiful, classy woman back at the time. Why don't we have people like that anymore on the silver screen? I bet you nobody knew or cared how she voted. I've never even seen an Audrey Hepburn movie, and I just know that that woman is beautiful and classy. And every coffee chain out there talking about coffee and the coffee that they have and making the design and the foam and everything else from that. So that's PETA weighed in. Fuck PETA. People eating tasty animals. That's what PETA should stand for. All right, number 2, Debate Tuesday. Me patiently waiting for tonight's debate, knowing that Donald Trump will have zero issue against the guy that sponsored the 1994 crime bill and did nothing to roll it back for decades. From Kimberly Klacik, I'm reaching out to her campaign. I'm going to see if I can get her on with Elaine and I for an interview. I wonder what Elaine would say to that, but I'm going to reach out to her and see if that's a possibility at this time. I know coming into the election is probably going to be hard for her, but I do want to see. So I'm going to reach out. We'll see if we can do that. Do you trust the 2020 election? Hashtag Debate Tuesday from James O'Keefe with his video. Yep, we're going to be talking about the debate. Make sure. The Street Fighter one. Finish him. That's great. I love that. That is awesome. All right, next one. Let's do another one here. Tuesday thoughts, Tuesday motivation, Tuesday morning. Jerk off, jerk off, jerk off. Ann Coulter! There's a good one for us. Ann Coulter. She's opened her mouth again. I don't think the conservative take on Donald Trump paying no taxes should be because he's smart. I've paid nearly 50% of my income taxes year after year. And any system that allows billionaires to pay zero is unspeakably corrupt. How about changing it, Democrats? Fuck you, Coulter. Fuck you, Coulter. That's all that I have to say about this. But if Trump and Ann Coulter break up, who gets custody of the racism? Yeah, and you knew this was going to happen. Trump is not a racist man, as much as the media has tried to tell you this, but that's part of the reason that Coulter hates him right now is because she thought that Trump coming up here and being the president meant that they were going to get the chance to deport everybody whose skin is darker toned than mine is in the country. And once she found out that no, all he cares about is money, now she hates him. Fuck you, Coulter. All right, Crown Tundra. And then the fifth one will actually be relevant to somebody who's chatting in the live chat right now. Sarah, by update, Pokemon Sword and Shield, the Crown Tundra, will be released globally on October 22nd. Details. So I don't know if this is a DLC for Sword and Shield. I have no idea. I haven't played a Pokemon game since Soul Silver. Which is actually kind of enjoyable, by the way. I might start doing that to relax a little bit at night. Just go back through that. I'd never finished Gold or Silver or Heart Gold or Heart Soul Silver. I also never finished Leaf Green. I finished all the blue, red, and yellow versions from the beginning. I finished all those. And then I did, because I had Gold when it was new, when I was still in high school. And I finished that one as well. But I haven't finished any of the later ones, and I kind of want to. So, yeah, I don't know. Once again, DLC, what this is, but yeah, I might do that. I think I'm going to do that. Maybe? No, because it's DS. I was going to say maybe I'll see if I can find a way to stream. Although I have the emulator. We could stream Pokemon. Would you guys be interested if I played Pokemon on my game nights? So, well, we'll look into that. I'll read it in the chat afterwards. Because we are like 1 or 2 episodes away from being done with New Vegas. I'm going to put that on the agenda. I think we might do that. All right. Anyway, that's what we have for that there. So, last one that we're going to see here is Sully is trending. Maybe it's because we have Sully Blue chatting in the chat. 11 years ago, Sully was called for this moment. 11 years ago, Sully was called for this moment. Now we're being called to this moment. Join Sully in regaining control of this nation's destiny by voting Donald Trump out. I have no idea who Captain Sully is, but this is apparently a new advertisement from the Lincoln Project. That's what I think about the Lincoln Project. I'm sorry, Sully, for associating your name with these assholes. I didn't know what it was coming into this. I just saw Sully was trending. All right, and that's going to be it for Twitter trending for the day, and that's going to be it for the news today. As I've mentioned 3 times on the program already, make sure you join us over at the Freedom Scoop Network for the Freckles and Brit Show later on tonight. For the debate coverage, Stephen Ignoramus is going to be there, and Liberty Lockpot is going to be there. So come and hang out. I will be in the live chat. So come and hang out with us and watch the debates and get your hot takes and get Freckles and Brit's hot takes and see how stoned Brit is throughout this entire thing. And it's going to be a great time. It's going to be an awesome time. It's going to be very, very enjoyable. Or head on over and check out Stephen Ignoramus immediately after this show as well. Otherwise, we will be back here tomorrow with more news and some debate highlights as well, probably tomorrow. I'm sure that that's going to be all over every piece of news, and we're going to have a lot of video. Tomorrow is going to be a video-heavy episode, I predict right now. Without knowing anything that's going to be in the debates, I think we're going to have a lot of video tomorrow. But come and hang out tomorrow for more contemporary, and we'll see you then. Until then, I'm Jay Edgar, and this is Contemporary. Take care.